The day my twin brother and I were born should have been a joyous one. Instead, it was the day my mother decided I was unworthy of her love. I, Nkem, was born with a small scar running across my cheek, a mark from a difficult birth. To my mother, Adaora, it was an omen, a flaw that made me less than perfect. My twin, Chidi, had no such scar. He was beautiful, flawless. He was the son she wanted. I was the one she despised. She never said it aloud, but I saw it in the way she held Chidi close while leaving me in the crib. In the way she kissed his forehead and turned away from mine. In the way she called him her pride while barely looking at me. My father, Obinna, tried to love me enough for both parents. He held me when my mother wouldn't, whispered stories in my ears, and defended me when she spoke cruelly. But even his love couldn't erase the rejection I felt every single day. As we grew older, the difference in how we were treated became clearer. Chidi wore the best clothes, ate the best food, and was showered with love. I wore his hand-me-downs, ate last, and was ignored. At school, I was teased. Children pointed at my scar, calling me names. Monster. Cursed. Ugly. Chidi, my only friend, fought for me. Leave my brother alone, he'd yell. But the damage had already been done. The words had already sunk in. At home, things weren't any better. One day, I fell while playing outside, scraping my knee badly. I ran inside, crying, seeking comfort. My mother stood at the kitchen counter, stirring a pot of soup. Chidi sat beside her, happily eating. "Mama," I sniffled. I fell. She didn't even look at me. "Go and find your father," she said coldly. Chidi jumped down from his chair. "Mama, Nkem is bleeding," she sighed, irritated. "And he'll live." That was the moment I knew my mother would never love me. My father tried. He truly did. One night, I overheard him arguing with my mother. "How can you treat your own son like this?" he demanded. "He is not my son," she snapped. "He is a mistake. A curse." My heart shattered into pieces. My father slammed his hand on the table. "Adaora, you will regret this. One day, you will need him, and he will be the only one left." She scoffed. "I will never need him." I wiped my tears and walked away. Years passed. Chidi and I grew up. He remained my protector, my best friend. But my mother, she remained cold. Then, fate intervened. Chidi received a scholarship to study abroad. He was gone. And just like that, my mother's favorite child was no longer there to love her. At first, she was fine. She still had her friends, her status, her pride. But life has a way of humbling the heart. She fell ill. A sickness that drained her strength and made her bones weak. She expected her friends to come running. But no one did. She had spent years looking down on others, and now, in her time of need, they abandoned her. She expected Chidi to return. But he was miles away, unable to leave his studies. And my father. He was exhausted. For the first time in her life, my mother was helpless. She had no one left. Except me. I was the son she never loved, the child she rejected. Yet, when she needed someone to take care of her, I was the one who stayed. I fed her. Bathed her. Sat by her bedside when she couldn't sleep. At first, she didn't understand why. "Why are you helping me?" she croaked one night, her voice weak. I smiled sadly. "Because you're my mother." Tears welled in her eyes. For the first time, she looked at me, not with disgust. Not with hate. But with regret. One evening, as I adjusted her pillows, she reached for my hand. Her fingers were cold. Her grip was weak. "My son," she whispered. "Forgive me." My throat tightened. "I have wasted so many years hating you," she continued, tears rolling down her cheeks. I was blinded by my own foolishness. I should have loved you. I should have protected you. But I failed you. Her words broke something inside me. I should have been angry. I should have hated her for everything she had done. But I didn't. I had spent my entire life yearning for her love. And now, in her final moments, she was finally giving it to me. I already forgave you, Mama, I whispered, squeezing her hand. A single tear escaped her eye as she let out a shaky breath. That night, she closed her eyes and never woke up again. My mother was gone. And yet, for the first time in my life, I felt free. I had spent years believing I was unworthy of love, of kindness, of happiness. But I was wrong. My scar never made me unlovable. It was never my burden to carry. I was strong. I was loved. I was enough. As the sun rose the next morning, I stood at my mother's grave, Chidi and my father beside me. Goodbye, Mama, I whispered. And as the wind carried my words away, I knew I was finally at peace. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more dramatic love stories. See you in the next one.